Have you ever wondered what happens after death? Most people imagine light, angels, or nothing at all. But what if the truth is far more intricate, a reflection of what we truly are inside? Tonight, I will tell you a story, the story of a man who believed in nothing. His name was Leonides Manuel Mollygruber, a man of reason, logic, and pride. He trusted science more than spirit, and to him, the soul was nothing but a fantasy. A myth built by weak minds afraid of the dark. He spent his whole life proving that there was no heaven, no hell, and certainly no God. And when death came, he smiled in bitter triumph, thinking that nothingness would finally embrace him. But that night, something strange happened. It was raining outside. The air was heavy with thunder, and a faint ticking echoed from the old clock on the wall. Leonides took one last breath, and the room went silent. For a moment, he thought he was still alive. The ceiling was there, the lamp still glowing faintly, and the sound of rain still drumming against the window. Everything looked the same, until he turned and saw himself lying on the bed. He froze. There he was, his own body, pale and motionless. At first, he laughed. It's just a dream, he thought. But when he reached for the door, his hand passed right through it. The cold of fear crept in. He shouted, but no one answered. He ran through the room, through the walls. Yet everything felt distant, weightless, unreal. Then, he noticed something. He could see, but not with eyes. He could hear, but not with ears. He was seeing and hearing through thought itself. And that's when he understood, something had changed. The city around him shimmered like a mirage. He saw people walking on the streets. But they were shadows, moving through light and fog, unaware of his presence. Some glowed faintly, others wandered in dim silence. He tried to call them, no one heard. Then, from the mist, came a soft, radiant glow. A presence, not a person, calm and warm, like the quiet before dawn. A voice, though it wasn't sound, spoke gently within his mind. Leonides, do not be afraid. You've crossed the threshold. He trembled. Who are you? I am your guide, the light said. You called for me once, when your wife died. You cursed the heavens that night. But still, we heard you. Leonides stared into the light, and for the first time, he felt small. Am I dead? He asked. The light pulsed gently. Dead? There is no death, Leonides. There is only the end of blindness. Those words pierced through him like sunlight cutting fog. The mist brightened, the air grew still, and before him appeared a vast open space, endless and radiant. In the center floated a sphere of light, and within it, his life. He saw himself as a boy, mocking his mother when she prayed. He saw his wife, sick and dying, asking for a moment of prayer while he turned away in scorn. He saw every face he had hurt, every person he had humiliated for believing in something he could not see. And as he watched, he felt their pain echo inside him, not as punishment, but as understanding. The voice spoke again. Every thought is a vibration, Leonides. It shapes the world around you. You believed in nothing, and so you created a world of nothingness. He fell to his knees, though he no longer had a body to kneel with. Tears that were not tears flowed through him. Can I change it? He whispered. The light shimmered softly. You cannot change the life already lived, but you can begin the next one. With open eyes. Then the vision faded. The sphere of light dissolved into mist, and he found himself floating in a calm, endless field of brightness. There was no fear, no time, no sound, only peace. He wasn't in heaven or hell. He was somewhere in between, resting, remembering, awakening. And in that stillness, Leonides finally understood that death wasn't the end, and life wasn't the beginning. They were both part of the same great journey. He had spent a lifetime denying the soul, only to discover that he was one. He drifted into silence, his last thought echoing softly through the light. Even those who believe in nothing will one day learn to see. And somewhere beyond the veil, a gentle voice whispered, "Rest now, Leonids, you have remembered." The second story begins far from the city of Leonids. It takes place in a quiet home at the edge of an old European town, where the snow falls softly on rooftops, and the streets glow with the orange light of lanterns. Inside that little house lived a man named Mac Ogwasher. A kind man, devout, and deeply fearful of the God he loved. He prayed each morning and each night, reciting the same words his father had taught him, believing that faith was measured by repetition. He loved his family dearly, worked hard, gave charity, and lived by the commandments he had memorized since childhood. But behind every prayer was a quiet fear. Fear of sin, fear of punishment, fear of not being worthy in the eyes of heaven. His God was love, yes, but also judgment. Years passed, and one cold evening, his heart betrayed him. The pain came suddenly, sharp and merciless. He called out, but his voice was lost in the snowstorm outside. Within moments, the room faded, the world dimmed, and he slipped into silence. When he opened his eyes, he was standing beside his bed, watching his wife weeping over his still body. He tried to comfort her, to tell her he was here, right beside her. But his words turned to mist. He reached out, and his hand passed through her shoulder like air. He shouted her name, but she didn't move. It was then he realized what had happened. He was no longer among the living. At first, he felt peace. The pain was gone. The fear of death had vanished. But soon, a strange heaviness returned. Not in the body, but in the heart of the soul. The air grew thick around him, and he began to wander. He saw others, dim shapes, lost like himself. Some whispering prayers, others crying, some simply walking in circles. Time no longer existed. He could not tell if it had been hours or centuries. The world around him was gray and endless. He thought of his God and whispered, "Where are you? I have worshipped you all my life. Have you abandoned me now?" Then, in the distance, a faint glow appeared, soft and golden, like sunlight seen through water. He moved toward it, slowly, as though drawn by a force both gentle and absolute. And when he reached it, a voice spoke, calm, kind, familiar. "Mac Ogwasher," it said. "Do you still fear your God?" He hesitated. I don't know," he replied. "I have tried to be good. I've prayed, I've obeyed. Why am I here, in this darkness?" The light pulsed softly, and from within it stepped a figure. A man with eyes of peace and an aura of compassion. Mac Ogwasher stared. He knew that face. It was his father's. "Father," he cried. "Is this heaven?" His father smiled gently. "This is not heaven, my son. It is the place between, where truth replaces belief." Mac Ogwasher felt his strength waver. "I have done everything the scriptures commanded," he said. "I prayed, I fasted, I followed the law. Why do I not see the gates of paradise?" His father touched his shoulder. And this time, he could feel it. A warmth spread through him, calm and deep. "You have prayed with fear," his father said softly. "And fear is not faith. You worshipped a God who judged, when the true God only loves. You thought obedience was devotion. But the Creator asks for understanding, not submission." The words echoed through the stillness. Mac Ogwasher fell silent. All the years of trembling, all the guilt, all the rituals, they seemed so small now, so unnecessary. His father continued, "The universe does not punish. It teaches. Every soul walks the same road, from ignorance to wisdom, from fear to love." Mac Ogwasher felt tears rise. Not of sorrow, but of release. "I see now," he whispered. "All my life, I feared to disappoint God. But I never feared to stop loving Him." His father smiled. "And now, you understand. Faith without love is a cage. But love without fear is freedom. The golden light around them began to expand, filling the endless gray with color. The lost souls nearby lifted their heads, drawn to the warmth. The air trembled with harmony. Not music, but something deeper, like the heartbeat of creation itself. "Come," said his father. "It's time to go home." Mac Ogwasher looked once more at the fading world behind him. The bed, the snow, the tears of his wife. And then he turned toward the light. As he stepped forward, the last weight of fear left him. He no longer needed words, for he had remembered what prayer truly was. Not asking, not pleading, but becoming one with love itself. And in that moment, the darkness disappeared, and he felt himself dissolve into the radiance. Whole, forgiven, and free.